Hello, we're on chapter 2 of the Phantom Tollbooth. Exciting story. All right, Beyond Expectations is the chapter. Suddenly, and here he is in his little car, suddenly he found himself speeding along an unfamiliar country highway. And as he looked back over his shoulder, neither the toll booth nor his room, nor even the house was anywhere in sight. What had started as make-believe was now very real. What a strange thing to have happened, he thought, just as you might have been thinking right now. This game is much more serious than I thought, for here I am riding on a road I've never seen, going to a place I've never heard of, and all because of a toll booth which came from nowhere. I'm certainly glad that it's a nice day for a trip, he concluded hopefully, for at the moment this was the only thing he definitely knew. And there he goes, driving along. The sun sparkled, the sky was clear, and all the colors he saw seemed to be richer and brighter than he could ever remember. The flowers shone as if they'd been cleaned and polished, and all the trees that lined the road shimmered in silvery green. "Welcome to Expectations," said a carefully lettered sign on a small house at the side of the road. "Information, predictions, and advice cheerfully offered. Park here and blow horn." With the first sound from the horn, a little man in a long coat came rushing from the house, speaking as fast as he could and repeating everything several times. My, welcome, 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 welcome to the land of expectations, to the land of expectations, to the land of expectations. We don't get many travelers these days. We certainly don't get many travelers these days. Now what can I do for you? I'm the weatherman. Look how they spelled weather. Weatherman. There's the weatherman. "Is this the right road for Digitopolis? Or Dictionopolis? Sorry, wrong city. Dictionopolis?" asked Milo, a little bowled over by the effusive greeting. Well, now, he began again. "I don't know of any wrong road to Dictionopolis, so if this road goes to Dictionopolis, it must be the right road. And if it doesn't, it must be the right road to somewhere else, because there are no wrong roads to anywhere. Do you think it will rain?" "I thought you were the weatherman," said Milo, confused. "Oh, no," said the little man. "I'm the weatherman, not the weatherman. For after all, it's more important to know whether there will be weather than what the weather will be." And with that, he released a dozen balloons that sailed off into the sky. "Must see which way the wind is blowing," he said, chuckling over his little joke and watching them disappear in all directions. "What kind of place is Expectations?" inquired Milo, unable to see the humor and feeling very doubtful of the little man's sanity. Good question, he exclaimed. "Expectations is the place you must always go to before you get to where you're going. Of course, some people never go beyond expectations, but my job is to hurry them along whether they like it or not. Now, what else can I do for you?" And before Milo could reply, he rushed into the house and reappeared a moment later with a new coat and an umbrella. "I think I can find my own way," said Milo, not at all sure that he could. But since he didn't understand the little man at all, he decided that he might as well move on, at least until he met someone whose sentences didn't always sound as if they would make as much sense backwards as forwards. Splendid, exclaimed the weatherman. "Whether or not you find your own way, you're bound to find some way, and if you happen to find my way, please return it as soon as it was lost years ago. I imagine by now it's quite rusty. You did say it was going to rain, didn't you?" And with that, he opened the umbrella and walked with Milo to the car. I'm glad you made your decision. I do so hate to make up my mind about anything, whether it's good or bad, or up or down, or in or out, rain or shine, except everything. Oh, expect everything, I always say, and the unexpected never happens. Now please drive carefully. Goodbye, 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 good. His last word, goodbye, was drowned out by an enormous clap of thunder, and as Milo drove down in the bright sunshine, he could see the weatherman standing in the middle of a fierce cloudburst that seemed to be raining only on him. The road dipped now into a broad green valley and stretched toward the horizon. The little car bounced along with very little effort, and Milo had hardly to touch the accelerator to go as fast as he wanted. He was glad to be on his way again. It's all very well to spend time in expectations, he thought, but talking to that strange man all day would certainly get me nowhere. He's the most peculiar person I've ever met, continued Milo, unaware of how many peculiar people he would shortly encounter. As he drove along the peaceful highway, he soon fell to daydreaming and paid less and less attention to where he was going. In a short time, he wasn't paying any attention at all, and that is why, at a fork in the road, when a sign pointed left, Milo went to the right, along a route which looked suspiciously like the wrong way. Uh-oh, there he goes. Ooh. Things began to change as soon as he left the main highway. The sky became quite gray, and along it, the whole countryside seemed to lose its color and assume the same monotonous tone. Everything was quiet, and even the air hung heavily. The birds sang only gray songs, and the road wound back and forth in an endless series of climbing curves. Mile after mile after mile after mile he drove, and now gradually the car went slower and slower until it was hardly moving at all. It looks as though I'm getting nowhere, yawned Milo, becoming very drowsy and dull. I hope I haven't taken a wrong turn. Mile after mile after mile after mile, and everything became grayer and more monotonous. Finally, the car stopped altogether, and hard as he tried, it wouldn't budge another inch. I wonder where I am, said Milo in a worried tone. You're in the doldrums, wailed a voice that sounded far away. He looked around quickly to see who had spoken. No one was there, and it was as quiet and as still as one could imagine. Yes, the doldrums, yawned another voice, but still he saw no one. What are the doldrums? He cried loudly, and tried very hard to see who would answer this time. The doldrums, my friend, are where nothing ever happens and nothing ever changes. This time the voice came from so close that Milo jumped with surprise, for sitting right on his shoulder, so lightly that he hardly noticed, was a small creature exactly the color of his shirt. Allow me to introduce Salamis, the creature went on. We are the Lethargerians, at your service. Uh-oh. They look kind of dull. Milo looked around, and for the first time noticed dozens of them, sitting on the car, standing in the road, and lying all over the trees and bushes. They were very difficult to see, because whatever they happened to be sitting on or near was exactly the color they happened to be. Each one looked very much like the other, except for the color, of course. And some looked even more like each other than they did themselves. And this is where we're going to stop for now, because let's see, this goes on for a while. So we'll stop here, where he's meeting the Lethargerians. And he's in the doldrums. Until next time, we'll pick it up and see how he gets out of the doldrums.